This will sneak up here pretty quick. I mean, most of the time in the SEC basketball season doesn't really start till January, league play. But this day and age, everything's so analytically measured that you got to come out and you got to play good in the non-conference. We know that in our league that if you find a way to win your home games, you're going to get in the tournament. You're going to have a really good seed. Like if you can do that, you're going to be good. So for us, we got to be playing good early, and hopefully we can play really well at home. Y'all seen our schedule. Of the Power Fives we play 4 are going to be away from home. So we'll get tested early, and then we'll be right back here for league play. But like our team, we have depth. We can shoot it. We got to get better on defense. As we know, we're way further along than the last time we met in this room, which I guess was the first day we got here. We have a roster, and they're working hard. But, the determination for how good we're going to be is going to be how are we going to continue to improve every day. And these guys have done that. They have. So we'll do it, and we'll see where it takes us.
We've seen the reports about McKenzie, and I wanted to ask if you had an update on how he's doing and health-wise of the other guys on your team.
Yep. So Mac's doing good. Had a good surgery. He'll be back sometime, hopefully late November at the latest. Could be early to mid-November. But he's had that injury, and it's not one that will jeopardize anything once he's back. I mean, he should full recovery. Shouldn't bother him too much at all when he's back. Good people doing it, so he'll be good. Pop Isaac practiced for the first time competition last practice. I thought he looked pretty good. So other than that, Rylan had his wisdom teeth out, so he's back.
Can you just remind us what McKenzie's injury was again?
So he had a Jones fracture in his foot, okay. Just kind of a wear and tear kind of deal. And, so it's more common than people think. Usually if they have an injury on the outside of their foot, that's usually what it is. Gotcha. Yeah. But he'll definitely be back sooner than later.
Gotcha. And has Aggie gotten his eligibility waiver yet, or are y'all still waiting on that?
Still waiting on Aggie. Good people are working on it. I feel good about it. If you look across the country, there's been some similar situations as his, and they ruled favorably for them. So I'm hoping everything is looked at the same for our guy.
When you allowed us to come to practice during the summer and we asked you about Bucky Ball and what we were experiencing, and you said that a lower percentage. So where are you at now as far as installing Bucky Ball into this team?
Further along, for sure. I mean, we want to be balanced in 4 phases of basketball. Full court defense, half court defense, full court offense, half court offense. And so to get good at all those, it takes time. But they're getting used to the pace and the 3-point volume. That's for sure. You have to ask the players, like those guys, how they feel that their body is right now. But I think they at least know they got to be in shape. They got to be able to shoot it, and they got to play really hard.
Rylan said the system's kind of like a dog with zoomies. Is that a good description of how everything goes?
I've never even thought of that description. Yeah. I could see Rylan saying that. That's something he'd say. Yeah, I mean, it's just I've heard it described like a Chinese ping pong match where the balls go back, forth, back, forth, back, forth when you watch a ping pong match, and it's just nonstop. So, that's how it should look. And we want a lot of possessions in the game. We're going to be equipped to play that way, and we think it's an exciting way to play because, we want the fans to get the full price of admission, right? Like if you're playing 60 offensive possessions a game versus 90, in one year our team, offense and defensively, I think we were over 180, which was number 1 in the country. You're going to get watch 2 basketball games in one.
I think you'll have one of the oldest teams in the country. Is that something that y'all, when you were kind of formulating this, was by design, or was that kind of just how it more wound up with the guys that you wanted to bring in?
Well, the first thing is, Jeremiah's the only freshman, and he was signed previously. And so when we got here in April, there's not many freshmen available. So when you're on the transfer portal, you're going to have older players. Mm-hmm. So you don't have those 4 or 5 freshmen that pull the age down, right? Mm-hmm. But Jeremiah plays, he's got veteran eyes. That's one thing about the team I'll say that I was talking to our staff the other day. I'm more optimistic about this team than I was a week ago. Now that we're in there and they're practicing, going through defensive rotations, it just takes those veteran eyes to really see it. And that's why it's good. They say to win at a high level, you got to be old, be deep, and then get some continuity. We're working on the continuity piece, right? We don't have carryover from last year, but we are old, and when we're healthy, we're deep.
What's just kind of been the progression of the install on both sides of the ball these last couple of months?
We worked a lot of offense in the summer, kind of a lot of spacing concepts, just knowing how to play out of space. The way we play offense is it's not a pattern continuity scripted offense, so it's a lot of read-based stuff. It would be like, run pass option when that became popular in football. And so, just making those reads and going over those reads over and over and understanding what I'm looking for. So we spent a lot of time on that. We didn't start full court defense really till the very end of the summer and then recently. So learning how to read in the full court, when to trap, when not to trap. And then you break it down, and now we'll start spending some more time on our half-court offense coming up.
Is there like a percentage you'd put your team at of where you feel like they have a grasp on things collectively at this point of the process?
Yeah, it's hard to say. We're where everybody is this time of year when you have a bunch of new players, which is behind, right? But that's most teams. We got a lot of new faces, but most teams do too. I think the teams that will be the most successful find the best way to be complex but simple. And I think that's in the new age of athletics where you don't have players for 4 years. Like, how can you have complexity to the other team? You're like, man, this is difficult, but your players, it's simple. And still be effective in multiple phases of the game of basketball. Because to be a championship level team where you can compete and you can make a run, you really have to be able to be solid in all phases. And I break it down very simple, like my formulas. Personnel, how good can we get our players, right? How good can they play together? But then after that, it's how hard can they work, how unselfish can they play, and how much confidence, called playing fearless, can they play with. And then after that, it's X and O piece. Full court defense, half court defense, full court offense, half court offense. And so being balanced in those 4 phases of strategy is going to be important. But it won't overcome how well our players are playing, right? I mean, we know it. You look at the Final Four, what do all the teams in the Final Four have in common? So do they run zone? Is it they run man? They got good players. So, we have to never lose sight of the player development piece to it. And then after that, more important than what you do X's and O's is, once you have good players, how freaking hard can they play? And guess what? Just because you play hard, you're not going to win because it's a team game. You have to be good, play hard, and be unselfish. And then just because you're good players that play hard, unselfish, if you don't play with confidence, you're not going to win either. So then you got to play with confidence. Then you get to the X and O piece. So we've been focusing a lot on making sure our players are getting better, playing hard, playing together, and therefore they'll play with confidence when they play. The X and O piece is an ongoing deal that every team deals with.
How have you tried to juggle, having some late arrivals, having some guys out, when you want to play with a lot of guys, when you want to have a deep bench? How do you juggle that, especially, being a new team?
Yeah, it's been a lot more fun practicing here lately. I mean, Luke got to sit in the summer when we had 6, 7 guys, right? And, it's hard to play basketball with that. So we're doing a lot of breakdown deals, keeping it simple in the summer, but now that we're up to 10, 11, 12, 13 guys, we're able to get to what we really want to get to.
You mentioned the last time we were in this room with you. How much has this kind of changed for you, and what's something you maybe learned about yourself or learned about this job, I guess, in the last 6 months since you were hired?
Not much is different, I would say. I learned that when I went from high school, or when I went from AU coach to JV to varsity to Sanford, now to the SEC, the same things went across all levels. And it's the same things that people struggle with, whether it's on the JV basketball team, it's the same thing they can struggle with in the SEC that equates to winning or losing. And so, the same, when basics become boring, failure becomes frequent, right? And just making sure that the things that went across all levels, that we don't just assume, well, we're in the SEC, we know that. No, they don't know how to block out. They forget sometimes, right? Just basic stuff you teach with your 7th graders is the same deal that you have to really harp on at this level. And so that's probably the main thing is that. And then as we all go through just this ever-changing world of college basketball, how can you effectively coach the guys in the most simple manner possible to get everybody on the same page because you have so many new players in this day and age of college basketball.
Well, now that it's been really cool to see you as the men's basketball coach, be it baseball, football, volleyball, soccer. Tell us about your Aggie experience and how has that helped in recruiting new players here?
Well, first with recruiting new players, about everybody we bring here wants to come here. So that says a lot about this place. But, I was asked this question about, we're actually talking about this today about A&M. It really feels like it is one athletic program. It's not like softball's doing its own thing, football's doing its own thing. Like, you feel connected to everyone, and I felt that right away. And that's, I think why this place is unique is because it has, or why it's special, it's because it's got really good people and great support. Like, the Aggies love the Aggies, right? But you feel it. It's not just, it is one athletic program. So you immediately when you lose in baseball, you hurt. I wasn't here a week and I started to hurt. I didn't even know the players' names yet. So I think when it's relational, that's what happens. And I don't go to the games to show my face. I go to the games because first I enjoy it. I love the vibe, the fever, and it's just where you want to be. But just the relationships with the people here, like I enjoy seeing them try to succeed, and I want to go fight with them.
What have been some of the key indicators that your team continues to make progress? And has there been a week or a practice that has maybe encouraged you the most in this development?
Yeah, I think that our biggest deficiency would be half-court defense because we're not the most physically imposing team, particularly waiting on Rashawn's situation and with McKenzie out. Right, those are two guys that can play the same position if you need them to, and are pretty small right now. But I needed to see when we got to real practice and you're really working defense rotations, can you see the game? Like they did a study on college football at one point, and they were determining who the teams that were the upset pickers. Like that, why was this team upset this team? And they kind of looked at the course and they found out that the teams that did that, they had veteran cornerbacks and safeties. The secondary had veteran eyes. And that's just something you can't teach. And so we don't know that because the defense in the summer isn't the defense now. Like it's way more turned up right now. And can you see the rotation when that ball's moving? Because if you don't have that, like you can never stop the dominoes from falling on you. And in the SEC, man, they're going to get a domino to fall pretty quickly just out of a ball screen, and they'll keep you on the run, and you'll be on the run the whole possession. I've noticed these past couple of days that their ability to see the next pass on defense has been very promising. It makes me think that our defense in the half court, I'm not going to say we're going to be the best defense, but there's hope that we can get some stops when we're going to need to.
We have time for a couple more.
What was your reaction to Bruce Pearl's retirement, and how close were you with him being in that region?
Well, he coached some of my high school players. We sent him down there. He was always great to our guys. I didn't know Pearl was 65, and so he's a little older than I thought. But I really appreciate what he did for Alabama, the state of Alabama in basketball. Like it was kind of an afterthought there. He did a lot on the floor with winning, but a lot off the floor to generate excitement about the game. And I've always said as a coach, you got to do your job to win games, but that's really not enough. You really got to make the game popular. And so there's something we learned from Bruce, or that I saw, was because I was in that state as well, wanting to make basketball popular at the high school ranks. And it's here. It's not just to be good. We want to make it popular. That even maybe it's that guy that never doesn't know a lot about basketball, or the sorority girl that doesn't know a ton about basketball maybe, but they come to games and they say, I got to go to the games. That's just so fun to be there. And that's kind of what Bruce did a good job of at Auburn.
You talked about the non-conference schedule. What was it like putting that together? Was it challenging? Firstly, you have to get all the players that you got, but
Yeah.
doing that, and how much did you have to kind of delegate to your other guys on staff for that?
Well, so we had a couple games. Some games were already scheduled before we got here. And then you go with HDI Analytics, which is it's a company that kind of determines how you should schedule to best help your chance to the NCAA tournament. And they kind of come up, do you want to play the 8-5 model, which is 5 Power 5s and 8 9s. You want to play the 9 and 4 model. Can you live with neutral site games? All right, and let me give you an example on this. Let's say if you didn't play the 8 and 5, okay, you play the 7 and 6 model. Well, then you better make sure that the majority of those 6 games are at home. But when you're playing 4 away from home, they're like, do not play more than 5. You can schedule yourself out of the tournament the other way. And so a lot of scheduling now is done analytically. And I know fans, it's always, well, why don't we play this team? Or I love to, I'm from here, let's go play Cali. You know, I get it, but we want to play for a national championship here. To play for a national championship here, we got to get to the NCAA tournament. And to get to the NCAA tournament, we're going to use the experts to tell us how we should schedule. As much as I'd love to, go play a game in the Bahamas, I'd love to, but that may not fit getting into the NCAA tournament, right? So that's what we're going to stick to, and that's new. That's kind of taken place in the last 3 years. It used to be more, mom and pop, hey, good old boy, y'all want to play this year? It's really not done that way anymore.
I know you're talking about it right now, but when the season actually starts, how much attention, if any, are you paying to predictive metrics, resume metrics, and net? Or are you not even worried about that once it starts?
You have to be conscious of it. You do. And it's unfortunate because you could be in a game versus a team and you're up by 20 points and you want to take your starters out with 2 minutes, but you need to win by the max 25. Yeah. And it's sad because you're playing a team that you don't want to go trap them necessarily up 20. But we also want to play for a national championship. Yeah. And that's another thing fans have to understand with scheduling is that why are these starters in the game? People say, well, we got someone hurt the last 2 minutes. It is what it is. There's a certain metrics that you have to meet in all these games. And if you don't meet them, it's a negative. It's not good enough just to win by a certain amount these days. So it's, I don't love it, but it is what it is.
All right, guys, that's all we have time for.
Okay. I appreciate y'all covering. Thank y'all.